I'm sure you've heard of a Moscow Mule, but today we are going to cover 4 unique mules that are particularly great for the fall weather. Hi, I'm Tim from Elma Wine and Liquor. Today we are going to talk mules. Not the animal, the drink. You're probably familiar with a Moscow Mule, which is vodka, traditionally vodka, ginger beer with a splash of lime, and then garnished with a lime wedge in a copper mug. That is one of the most commonly drank mules out there, but you can put a twist on any mule. And we thought it would be fun to go through some of those, especially because a mule is a great cooler weather drink, even though it's often associated with a refreshing summer beverage with that frosty copper mug. It does make for a nice cooler weather because of that spice from the ginger beer. So Moscow Mules were originally created in Los Angeles, not Moscow. And the bartenders started using copper mugs mostly for a marketing gimmick, but also because they kind of leave that nice frosty look on it. So a cool beverage in a hot room or on a hot day, it stood out between the copper and the frostiness on the mug. Again, it was vodka, ginger beer, splash of lime juice or citrus, and then garnished with a lime wedge. But we can make those with a lot of other types of alcohol. One of the key things to remember, though, is if you can, to get a good quality ginger beer. Ginger ale will suffice in a pinch, but if you can find some quality ginger beer, that will help improve the quality of the drink. That's kind of what makes it, especially when you're just talking plain vodka, because the plain vodka doesn't have a lot of flavor or character itself. So why do we think a mule is a great cooler weather drink? To start with, that ginger beer, like I already said, that spiciness really kind of helps warm you up when it's cold outside. That fresh lime is a great balance to the heavier foods that we tend to eat in the cooler months. And then just kind of all that sweet, tangy blend together, spice, citrus, just is a really fun, vibrant beverage that puts you in a holiday spirit and just warms you up overall. So today I'm going to walk through 4 different mule recipes that you can try during this fall or winter season that might give your party or your social event a little different twist. I'm going to start out with a blueberry mule. You can use plain vodka or you can use blueberry vodka, already infused. But what I would highly recommend is grabbing some fresh blueberries or some frozen blueberries. You're going to start by muddling those, which means like taking a spoon, or if you have a muddler, into the copper mug before you throw the ice in. And then you're going to put in the vodka, either plain or blueberry vodka, together with a splash of fresh lime juice, and then top it off with the ginger beer. Make sure you mix it really well, and then enjoy. You can garnish that with a blueberry, throw a couple fresh blueberries on top, or you could throw a lime wedge on there as well, or both. Next up, particularly for the fall months, it is apple picking season, so an Apple Mule. What you are going to use for that is a little bit of apple liqueur, a little bit of apple cider. You can put in a little bit of vodka too if you want, and then top it all off with the ginger beer and a fresh dose of lime juice. You can garnish that with an apple wedge if you got it, a slice of apple and or a lime wedge, or a cinnamon stick to spice it up a little bit more. That'll give you some nice appley fall flavors with that little spice from the cinnamon if you swirl it around in there and use it to mix up the drink. So give that Apple Mule a try this fall. Number 3 is going to be a Maple Bourbon Mule. So instead of the vodka, we're going to use a maple cask bourbon or whiskey and use that in the copper mug over ice. Top off with the ginger beer and a fresh squeeze of lime. For a little bit warmer, richer, you get that sweetness from the maple and the heartiness, earthiness, and warmth from the bourbon for a nice, really nice fall winter version of a mule. And you still get that spice from the ginger beer, just goes really well together with the maple and the bourbon. Definitely give that one a try. Highly recommend. If you don't have a maple finished bourbon, but you do have some other bourbon and some maple syrup, you could use a little pinch of maple syrup, not too much. You don't want to oversweeten it. And then last up, particularly good for Thanksgiving dinner or hors d'oeuvres, would be a Cranberry Blood Orange Mule. So for that, we're going to use a blood orange liqueur with a little bit of cranberry juice, topped off with a ginger beer and a fresh squeeze of lime. You can float a couple cranberries on top of that after you mix it up really well, or a fresh wedge of blood orange if you've got it, to kind of make that drink pop at the Thanksgiving dinner table. And because it's a blood orange liqueur, it's going to be, this is Salerno. It is 40 proof, so it's the same as a vodka, but you can find some lower proof orange liqueurs as well if you want to kind of take the alcohol down a little bit in the cocktail. Don't take it down too much, though, because it'll kind of throw off the balance of that sweetness versus the alcohol. 4 mule options for you this fall and winter season. Look forward to seeing your pictures, hearing your favorites of those 4, or if you have a different twist on the mule that you like to make. Really love to hear that in the comments. Let us know, and we will see you again soon. Cheers.